And we are officially live. This is the radio takeover with D Rivers Live. I am D Rivers, and guess who we have here with us today? Let me give you a hint. We're going down the rabbit hole, okay? Rabbit hole time. Tommy Topper South from Pit Boss is here with us today. What's up, Tommy?
How are you, Miss D?
I'm doing just wonderful. You know, I'm going to check and make sure that everything's okay. Why don't you tell the audience about the Pit Boss website while I do that?
Okay, well, you have the pitbossrocks.com. That's the actual website, and then the more up to date would be the Pit Boss Facebook page. So you just simply look for the Pit Boss banner. We have nothing to do with those pit bulls. We were there before on Facebook. So yeah, if you see something about pit bulls or barbecue grills, that's not us.
It's not.
So, no, we were there before them. So they like to share links to our page all the time. So
Oh, really?
absolutely.
Oh my goodness. That is just something else. You know, everything looks good on my end. You know what? Let's talk about you and your music and how you chose music as a profession.
Well, I can't remember the exact moment that I became interested in drums.
Right?
I do know
Right?
that I did start in school band in the fifth grade.
Okay.
So that means I've been playing drums for 150 years now. So
150.
yeah, coming up on it. So, but no, I was in the school band from fifth grade all the way through graduation.
Oh,
Um,
wow. So
mhm.
was it always drums for you, or did you play another
It
type?
it was yeah, it was always drums. Now, if I didn't, back in school, if I didn't, I remember when I first tried out for drums, or when I first, told the band teacher I was interested in drums,
Right.
that if I don't make it on drums, I'll try and play saxophone. Maybe that was the next one, but luckily I survived the drums.
So, what was your first drum kit?
Well, my first drum kit was a Tama Imperial Star that I worked all summer for and bought it from a guy across the street. Paid cash money, and then I realized I was in an apartment complex and could not actually play those drums.
Oh my
So,
goodness.
but luckily, I actually worked for the apartment complex, and they had more of a kind
Right.
of a gathering space that was an enclosed room, and they let me go up there and play drums, just for a little bit of time, until people complained. So,
Do you
but
remember? Do you remember the first song you learned on drums?
ooh, probably one of the first songs I learned was probably something by AC/DC or maybe Quiet Riot, something like that.
Okay.
Um, on drums, that's usually very, pretty simple.
Right.
So, you know, and I remember, because when I learned drums in school,
Right.
there was no drum kit. It was play the snare drum or play a cymbal or play a bass drum or the bells or timpani or something like that. So I remember seeing Quiet Riot on Solid Gold,
Okay. Oh, I remember
watching
that. Yes.
watching him play, and I thought, wow, that's how they do it. He actually crosses the sticks over, and
Right.
that's how he does it. So
Now, see, you're gonna have me going back and looking at episodes of Solid Gold with
that's
Andy
right.
Gibb. Andy Gibb was the host,
Absolutely. Oh
and I think
yeah.
it was Marilyn McCoo.
Yes.
Oh, that is too funny. That is too funny. So I
Yeah.
know I know one of your musical influences. I know at least one. So,
You probably know the best one.
uh-huh. And he
Okay.
passed away recently.
He did. He did. Yeah. He was. Neil Peart was definitely the one that I followed the most, and the
Right.
and you can't really say the best because he was a phenom.
That's right.
They call him the professor for a reason.
Very true.
So, but yeah, he was. anytime I'm needing some inspiration, I can pull up one of those videos and try to interpret or copy the best I can.
Well, I've heard you play at least once in my life, so I know you do a damn fine job. You really do.
Well, thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
For those who don't know how Tommy and I met, you probably know now because you know the rabbit connection, of course. I've known Tommy for pretty close to 20 years, and we met once again because of Pit Boss. And I know Tommy. I now know Titan. Titan is just this human. Oh, he's a riot.
Yeah, he's something. We got him secluded right now. Maybe he's on full and sleeping, so it's quiet. He's not chasing sunbeams in here or looking for a squirrel out the window.
Next to his Chewy box.
That's right.
And of course, I know your wife, Michelle. Hi, Michelle. And she's wonderful. So I've known you quite some time. And there's a question I want to ask you from someone who knows you. There's always room for Jell-O.
Oh. Well, I seem to recall back in the day when we used to play Fat Tuesdays in Augusta, they would bring around the Jell-O shots, and we'd always say, hey, there's always room for Jell-O shots. I'm sure that's from one of my Arrowwood boys.
Oh, of course. Who else? The Mad Hatter himself, Paul Arrowwood, definitely.
Absolutely.
He'll be on next month.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll buckle in for that one.
Oh, definitely. Woo. So, are there any other influences besides Neil Peart?
Oh, well, I mean, there's always influences. I mean, I'm almost on the daily, I'm looking at some sort of drum video and thinking how did they, these guys come up with this stuff, or
Right.
And a lot of other things in music, other than just the drummers. I get excited about a live performance as a whole, or how a band interacts with a crowd, or how an individual interacts with a crowd. I've seen some amazing concerts where you have the singer kind of doing a hush to the crowd, and then he just has them eating out of his hands, and it just gives you the goosebumps.
You know what? I'm going to stop this interview for just a second because, your comment section, oh my gosh, you have all kinds of fans. Okay? So, look out. From Pamela Johnson.
Hey, Pammy!
She says, howdy, Toppy.
Well, we were supposed to be on vacation with Pam and Paul in Vegas around my birthday.
Right.
And of course, we got the coronas, and we had to close down the world. So
very true.
We'll make up for that hopefully here soon.
And a dear friend of mine out here from SoCal, Leonard Patterson, he's with Indie Band Coach. He's stopping in to say hello. Hey.
Mr. Patterson.
And of course, your wife.
Oh.
Bingo, she says. And Sean Hansen. I just met Sean. I called him the new guy for a while, but now I know his name because my grandson's name is exactly spelled that way. Sean.
Well, he is the new guy still with Pit Boss, but it's been several years now, so he qualifies as the new guy until there's another new guy. So.
And Michelle says again, Chewy box delivery is tomorrow.
Oh, then we're just on time with this interview, so we don't have a Titan interaction with the Chewy box.
Not yet. And of course, Sean just chipped in, and he tells us both, I'm not new.
I remember when Sean first linked up with us, and he was like, "Hey, man, what about a set list? What are we doing next?" I'm like, "Don't worry about what songs we're doing next. We got you, buddy."
Now he says another new guy, and he's got question marks behind it.
You never know. You might hire an accordion player.
Look out, Sean. Look out. So I know that you have a lot of band history. You have a lot of experience. Can you tell us about some of the many bands you have been in, starting with the very first one?
Well, the very first one was back when I was probably 16 years old. It was me
Right.
and two other guys in Augusta. Um, I think we did one gig, and it was at the barbecue pit near Lake Olmsted. It was us and a couple other bands. And back then, especially if you were too young to play in bars, you had to go rent out your own venue and have a show. So I remember it well. I remember many lessons learned on that gig as a drummer.
Mm-hmm.
For one, I was also the lead singer in that band. So,
Oh,
but I remembered my biggest lesson from that gig was, as a drummer, always have spare drumsticks, because I had one pair and I dropped them. So luckily there was a buddy of mine that was sitting behind me that was good, that was helping me along, and every time I drop a stick, I just put my hand back there and he would put it back in my hand. So, that was a good experience. But I remember that gig, and I remember it well, actually.
oh wow.
So,
And what was
yeah.
the next band after that?
Um, after that, I didn't really play in bands as much as worked with bands. I worked with several bands that kind of toured around the Southeast.
Right.
Worked with Idle Image for several years.
Heard the name?
We were all over every
Mm-hmm.
college you could possibly do in the Southeast, and that was
Mm-hmm.
every weekend. So a lot of time in a 15-passenger van all over the place. So after that, I did some production work with Uncle Woody. I
No.
was actually the
Mm-hmm.
light guy, and we did lighting and then pyrotechnics and all kinds of crazy stuff, back then. So worked with those guys, and we did the same touring around the Southeast.
Right.
But getting back into, as an actual player, probably the next band for me would have been Arrowwood.
Oh.
So, oh yeah, yeah, starting the rabbit hole. So,
So how in the world did you meet Paul Arrowwood?
I don't have a specific memory of meeting Paul. I just know we seemed to always be in the same place, at the same time. So, I don't remember the actual meeting of Paul, but once we hooked up, we were pretty much inseparable there for several years. So we had a common goal in the band, and
Right.
doing something different than what other people were doing at the time. So, you
Now,
know,
oh, go ahead. No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
well, one of the little shticks I remember with Arrowwood is we didn't take a break. Our shows were one long set, and when it was time to, go to the restroom, it was like, hey, guitar solo, hey, Paul, play your acoustic, oh yeah, or the same thing, Tommy, do your drum solo, so yeah, that was kind of our little shtick with Arrowwood. So, but we accomplished our mission, had parties, good times. So.
One of the things I remember about Arrowwood was, for those who don't know, Paul is a multi-instrumentalist. So one minute he will be on guitar, next minute he'd swap with you on drums, next minute he'd be playing bass,
Yeah.
and I mean, just all of you, just great entertainers as well as great musicians. Most
Yeah,
definitely.
we had our moments. Yeah, Paul's definitely, he does a little bit of everything. And I was always kind of jealous that I never picked up an actual instrument where I could do an acoustic type show.
Right.
Later on, as I got a little older, then I regret not learning the piano.
Very important
Some of my
instrument.
favorite entertainers are pianists. So
Mm-hmm.
you know,
I can definitely vouch for that because the piano just connects so much with all the instruments, especially with vocalists.
yeah.
Yeah.
And now it seems that a good keyboard player is about the hardest person in the band to find, because nowadays with modern technology, with a keyboard, you have every instrument. You
Very
know,
true.
I mean, with the modern gear and stuff. So, you know, bass player's not here tonight. All right, I'll play bass on keys.
Yep,
You know.
exactly. I'm going to go back to the comment section again. You have a huge audience today.
Uh-oh.
From my friend Roxy in SoCal with Black Market 3, she said, "What's up, beautiful?" I
I'm
take it
sure
she's
she's
talking
talking to you.
about me. And we also have Val. Hello.
Val!
And she says, "Hello, Tommy South. Miss you."
Hugs, girl.
And Sean's back again. He says, "So I guess I need to learn keys now."
Hey, I'm not going to tell you not to.
So what other bands were you in before
Oh wow,
Pitbull?
I had to think of this list because there's been so many. In leaving the trailing end of Arrowwood is when I actually switched from rock to country.
What?
Yes, absolutely. And it still kind of surprises me to this day because I was not a fan of country music at all. But I also was getting tired of moving equipment. And the bands that I was talking about or interested in getting into were more house bands in Augusta where they set up, they stay set up and just set up and play every weekend. And
Right.
I was kind of excited with that. And there happened to be a position available in one of the local country bands at that time. That was Alan Lowe and Turning Point.
I know Alan
And,
Lowe. Yes.
in that band at the time was Mr. Clint Watts,
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Jeff Guthrie,
Mm-hmm.
David Bryan. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
these are all in my eyes. These were all local legends. So I was like, hey, and they just happened to let me know that our drummer's needing to bow out. So we have a position available. So I actually went in there several weekends in a row with my notepad
Right.
and started taking notes and learning these songs because they didn't do just country.
Right.
A lot of good classic rock, big harmonies, all of that. And, I like to tell the story that on their stage, being that I was not with a heavy country background, every night on stage live in front of a crowd, I played songs I'd never heard before. So it was, me and Clint had a nice little system. He would explain the song very quickly. It's 3/4 time. Watch me for the changes. Half time, cut time, and I just, as a drummer, kept it super simple. And every night, it was a little nerve-wracking starting off, but once me and him clicked and locked in, whatever you got, let's do it.
So you and Clinton, but you have been a team rhythm section for quite some time.
Yeah. Well, I worked for him a long time with Uncle Woody when we were traveling with that, and then I would sit in on drums every now and then with Uncle Woody, just for a song or so. But he knew me as a drummer, and he knew what I was capable of. So I remember he said, "I can get you the gig, but I can't keep you the gig," because that was him telling me, I'm in this rock band, Arrowwood. I'm a loud, fast, aggressive drummer. And in country music, you got to bring it back in. You got to play with dynamics, But what I really liked about the country is all of the things that I learned in school,
Right.
all of the different things that I got graded on, I got to bring that back and play it, every night. So it was a treat. It was one of those situations where I could sit back and actually listen to the band and enjoy what was going on. When you got dueling guitar players on stage, going back and forth with the caliber of those guys, it was a blessing every night.
I know you love all types of music, but I've always known you as a rocker. Always. It's just very hard for me to imagine you being in a country band. Not
Yeah.
saying that you can't do it. I know you can.
Oh, it was fun. I enjoyed it. And the thing is I wasn't a fan of country but I enjoyed every song on stage. You know, I guess when you're in the creative process, or when you're actually doing the performance,
Right.
you know. I mean, there's bands that we play now with Pit Boss. When I hear that song come on the radio, I'm quick to turn it. But I'll get on stage and play it, and I'll play it with enthusiasm, and like I wish I'd wrote the song. So
Oh wow. You know, you have a fan base here. Let me put when I put my glasses on, I'm about to read the comments.
oh, here we go.
Here we go. Let's see. Marty's checking in with you. He says, Tommy rocks. Marty Bertain, yes.
Hey, I'm channeling my inner Marty.
Val checks back in. She says, back in the safari days.
Oh yeah, she was there.
Mm-hmm.
She was there when I was learning my country.
And Julianne South.
Oh, hey girl.
Hey, big brother.
Yeah, she's chiming in from Tampa.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
And Ashley says, definitely, yes, definitely one awesome drummer. You just have a fan base. Just look at you.
Yeah, everybody's checks in the mail.
So leading up to, is there any other bands before Pit Boss? Right before.
Oh
Pit Boss?
yeah, absolutely. Well, when the Alan Lowe project at the
I remember.
when that it's tended to fizzle out, we just kind of kept the ball rolling, and
Right.
within that band, then we changed from Turning Point. We actually changed to the Duke Boys, and that was with Jeff Davison.
Oh.
And I think even Paul Airwood came and played, some with some of these bands. So, but Jeff Davison, Buddy Boyette,
Yeah.
yeah, Scott Terry. I mean, yeah. So I played with some very talented individuals in my day.
Scotty Too Hottie.
That's right. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we played at the Safari as the Duke Boys until they actually bulldozed it over, and then we went over a couple streets over to the Honky Tonk.
I remember that too.
So yeah, the Honky Tonk did a big remodel, and we ended up over there, and that's when they had the big stage there, and we had Duke Boy billboards all over town and all kinds of crazy stuff.
I remember seeing the name, and I remember that was the home of Steve Chappell. He played there
Yes,
for
absolutely.
a very long time.
Yeah,
Yes,
he built the Honky Tonk and the reputation for the Honky Tonk. So, but they closed down for a short time,
Right.
remodeled, and then while they were remodeling, from what I remember, everybody went down the street to Coyotes. And it was hard to bring that crowd back to the Honky Tonk. So.
I remember Coyotes very well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Uh-oh. You know what it means when I put my glasses on. Jacob Emery says, hey, South.
Hey, what's up, buddy?
Tracy Goforth.
Yeah.
Hell of a drummer.
She's one of our local ladies here in Covington.
Oh, okay. And Melissa Berry.
Hey, girl, and happy birthday, Melissa.
Happy birthday,
More
Melissa.
cowbell.
More cowbell. You have a big fan base there. So, is that it right before Pit Boss?
No, let's see. And the Duke Boys morphed a couple times, just because there was so much time there.
Right.
And with the Duke Boys, once we got to the Honky Tonk, we were playing every Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, every weekend. So although we weren't moving gear, it was still taking time away, from families and spending time with the loved ones and such like that. So
Right.
And so we shifted through a few members throughout the Duke Boy days, and once that fizzled out, I was in several other bands around there. I did a short time with Mr. Dave Pearson and the Inhibitors.
Okay.
I did production with Borderline for a while, and when their drummer tapped out, took his break, I would say, I filled in for them for some time, playing, stepping up from sound and lighting to the drums. So, and then I did that for a minute, and then I think it was shortly thereafter that I actually moved. I moved to South Georgia, which had zero music scene in that little town we used to call Butthole, Georgia.
Right.
Down in, yeah, it was a little town called Moultrie. I got a
I
promotion at
know it.
work, but the promotion meant I had to leave, and
Right.
go
Right.
go to where the work was. So yeah, we had several years of hard labor down in Butthole, Georgia, and I actually, I've still kept in touch with Paul and Clint and all them, and they were wanting to do uh, I remember doing a Pit Boss show, and I was just a hired drummer at that point, and we did
Right.
well, yeah, we did a hired thing in Savannah, and so I packed up my drums in my little van, and we rolled over to Savannah, did the gig, and then came back over to Moultrie, which is over kind of near Valdosta area.
Mm-hmm.
The origins of Pit Boss was way back when I mentioned Arrowwood. Pit Boss was actually a side project of Arrowwood and Uncle Woody. So the four official starting members of Pit Boss were me,
Mm-hmm.
Paul Arrowwood,
Right.
Brian Thrift, and Clint Watts.
Wait a minute. Now,
Yes,
see, this is something new.
yes,
So I got to go further down into the rabbit hole and get
yes.
Brian Thrift now. Okay.
So, but that was, and I think
Wow.
with Pit Boss, we may have played once or twice, but it was a side project of two very busy bands. So, it was just fun. We all we were doing our own thing, and then we had these interests in doing some slightly different stuff, and
Right.
so we did that, and then when Pit Boss at that point kind of fizzled out, then I moved away, and then later on Clint resurrected the name and
Okay.
started filling in the gaps with the local guys, and
Right.
you know I wouldn't even begin to list all of the guys that have been in Pit Boss from that early time.
Wow.
So that would be more of a Clint and Paul question, as they were part of that process.
Okay. Okay.
So, but once we moved from South Georgia up to the Atlanta area, that put me closer to Augusta, but it also put me knee deep in a very thriving music scene up here in Atlanta. So, you know, at that point, I could do gigs with Pit Boss. I remember starting, at one of the local places here when Michelle and I moved up here, and we would go see bands locally, and I'm like, God, we could come in here and slay this place. So, and I remember we pulled up the first time and we rolled all that gear in, and they were like, "Man, is Van Halen coming up in here with all this equipment?" Because at that time, we had the big, Clint had the big rider truck, and it
We
was
did.
all full of gear. So yeah, we've always had quite the little production there. So
Oh, I've never seen a small scale version of Pit Boss. Never. I mean, you have the lighting guy, the sound guy, production truck. I mean, it's a full fledged show.
yeah, well, I mean, it's and the thing about it is all of that stuff is not necessary, but we enjoy it. I mean, you want the powerful kick drum, you want the big lights to make you look good, and
Right.
you could show up there with sound on a stick, wearing your baseball caps and whatever, and you could get the job done. But it's not us.
Right.
It's not us.
So, but you know what? Another thing, by the way your production show is set up, you're a premium. You have established yourself as not just any band, it's a premium band.
Yeah. Well, we like to think so. I
Oh,
mean, we have
definitely.
with Clint being the expert on sound, we got the
Right.
best sound. You know, um, our lighting is always being updated. I mean, I remember going from some 40 or 50, 300 or 600 watt par cans that would blow
Right.
every breaker in the house to switching over to LED, and and thinking, oh wow, these things do all this cool stuff. I remember that well. You know, so. But yeah, we travel with our big truck, the rolling toolbox as we call it, and it's got, we can play a small little gig in the corner, or we can bring it in and and break some glass if we need to. So
Uh-oh.
here we go.
Let's see what the commenters are saying now. Oh, you got a lot of comments. Oh, Mike, this is from Val. Mike Stamey says, "Hello, Tommy."
What's up, Mikey? Hope this finds you well, sir.
And let me show it. Oh, there it is. From Michelle, the alienators.
Did she mean the inhibitors?
The inhibitors. No, yes, she did. She drinks.
Have another.
That was in Savannah, she said.
So.
Stacy Peterson.
Yeah.
Says, remember those good old days?
Oh, absolutely. Stacy's old high school buddy of mine.
Oh, okay. And from Lynn Goodwin.
Oh, Mama Goodwin.
Awesome, Tommy South. Hi from Red and Lynn. Enjoying the interview. See you Saturday.
Yes,
favorite son-in-law.
For early Mother's Day.
Favorite son-in-law. Very talented young man. Lynn, yes, he definitely is.
So kind she is.
Tommy Brown.
Hey, what's up, Coach Brown?
Says the most humble musician I've ever met. He'll never rock star you. He always has time for his people. Oh, that's nice. That's nice.
Well, why wouldn't we?
Aww.
If they took the trouble of coming out, we need to take the time to tell them thank you, and that's what we do it for. We're not
Tommy,
getting rich doing this.
That's very nice, Tommy. Thank you for chiming in. Sean's back. Sean said premium. Enough said. He should have put that in caps. Premium.
Right.
Yeah. Uh-oh. Drum kits. Uh-oh. Got a question from the audience. Uh-oh. You want to talk about your drum kits now? You want to wait on that?
I'm always compensating for something, so I gotta have a big flashy drum kit. So.
And Pammy,
I've just I've paid my bills, and I can afford a kit or two, and I'm proud of the kit. It looks good on our stage, so I take a kit that'll barely fit through the door, and then I have the smaller ones when we got stairs to climb. So
there you go.
So,
and from Pammy, Paul Arrowwood says Pit Boss never played a small gig.
Yeah, what he said.
So are there any other bands before Pit Boss?
That's caught me up to the present. So
okay. So
yep.
What is
with Pit Boss? With this version of Pit Boss, we're
Yeah.
going on 10 plus years with this current version. Now, granted, there's a few separate members, but with Clint and I, we've been this train's been rolling steady for over a decade now.
Wow! Mm-hmm. Congratulations.
Well, thank you. That's what we. I tell people that some people play golf on the weekends, and we play weekend rockstar.
There you go. So, how did the official name of Pit Boss come about? Now, I heard Clint. I asked this question to Clint.
Well, then I heard what Clint said because I wasn't there. I had no input on the name Pit Boss.
Right.
That was all them, and he just said, "Hey, we're going to call it this," and I'm like, "Hell, that's cool. If it ain't broke, don't fix it." So, and it's easy to say, and it kind of rolls off the tongue. Of course, people don't like to spell it correctly; they like to make it 2 words with extra letters, but it's all good.
So, you have one particular member that I know. He's not new. But he's like, let's see, it was Lynn, Clay. I'm naming the guitarist. Jeff Guthrie.
I don't think Jeff was ever a member of Pit Boss.
He sat in, or maybe it was, maybe he just sat in.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, he probably just sat in. But Billy, how in the world did you get That
Mr.
hot stuff
McCullough.
built. Yes. How did you get him?
Well, and that's a okay. For one, it's kind of a funny story, but it kind of shows how much somebody trusted my opinion. Okay,
Okay.
so let me back this up a little bit. For one, I'm a drummer. I
Right.
don't play another instrument. I
Right.
forgot notes back in high school when I didn't have to play bells anymore.
Right.
To me, what I hear is good or bad. So I actually sat in with a band in Columbia, South Carolina, and I knew the singer and I knew the bass player, but I did not know the guitarist, whose name was Billy McCullough. And we kind of talked about the songs we're going to play for this gig, and of course it's old classic rock that I knew all the songs. It was standard
Right.
stuff, and we kind of had our little meeting because a lot of times when you're playing with a drummer you don't know, you're always worried about the endings of the songs. Oh my gosh, how are we going to stop these songs? So I just tell them, hey guys, we're going to keep it simple. We're going to end the first song this way, and every other song we're going to do the same way. So you never have to wonder what the drummer's going to do. Well, we played the gig, and Billy he played great. He sat. Remember, this is an untrained drummer's ear. I'm like, man, this guy's got a great attitude. He's always smiling. He's a good-looking guy. He plays the part. His guitar matched my drum kit. Just saying, a little bit had to do with it. But anyway, but no, and I went back to Clint and I said, man, this guy that I played with this weekend, he's awesome. And Clint was like, well, if you think he can do it, give him a call. So I went by the Guitar Center where Billy was and said, hey, are you interested in doing a project? And
Right.
Billy was like, yeah. So, and for Clint being the extraordinaire that he is, you would think there would be some sort of trial basis or whatever, but
Right.
no, it's Pit Boss. He said, if you think he can do it, and Billy, Billy was a guitar teacher, so he knew the guitar,
Right.
so he's still a teacher, by the way.
Okay.
So I mean, he knows the guitar backwards and forwards. So, you know, another thing that Pit Boss and Sean could attest for this one is
Right.
we all live so far apart that we don't get to practice very often. And yeah, we know, y'all. We can tell. We can tell. We know. We know. No, but with Billy, Billy is a musician, likes to be prepared, and he comes to the gig, and you could tell he's kind of nervous, and we just had to get him relax, relax. But
Right.
Billy's the best. He shows up, he does his thing. He's always got a smile on his face. Everybody loves him. You know, the fact that he plays guitar without an amp on stage, I love, love, love. He's the master of the Axe effects, the fractal. And I know for all you gearheads that like to move all these big speakers and stuff, I will put Billy's guitar sound against any sound out there, and the sound men love him because there's no amp on stage. So
That is just wild.
yeah.
That's wild. No turning up to 11. He just
No, no.
none of
Matter of
that.
fact, and that was it's kind of funny that Billy not having an amp on stage actually helped Clint to decide to not have a bass amp on stage. So when you go to a Pit Boss show, the loudest thing on our stage is probably the snare drum, but then you got this massive PA that's pushing the sound out there.
Right.
And when people get on our stage, we don't have any monitors on stage. It's all in ears, so yeah, it makes for and a nice clean stage. We can make any stage look big because it's not a bunch of guitar amps and chords everywhere, and it gives us room for shenanigans.
I haven't heard that word in a long time. Shenanigans.
I think that may be a Billy word.
Uh-huh. The last time I sat in with you all, it was maybe 2, 3 years ago.
Was it outdoors?
Yes.
Outdoors at the biker party in And yeah.
Yeah, that was
We miss
nice.
doing those. We had a lot of great times out there for that group of the veterans motorcycle
Yes.
group. Yes, great group of guys. Great group
And
of guys.
and I remember being on stage, and I believe Patterson was the vocalist at the time, Michael
Yep,
Patterson.
absolutely.
And it was so quiet. I could talk to you, the drummer, and talk to everybody. And it was like it was a wall. It was like an invisible wall
Yep,
between the stage and the
absolutely.
audience. No
Mm,
wedge, no wedge
no,
monitors, nothing.
no,
Crystal clear when you
yeah,
output, just wonderful. So
yeah, and that's a lot of the reason why when we do a sound check, our sound check can literally be like half of one song. I mean, and now with the digital stuff that we have saved settings for different venues and such like that. So yeah, but without the monitors on stage, there's no feedback and you know room to hop around and be goofy.
wow, do cartwheels and everything. That was a
Absolutely.
lot of room. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
no
Yeah.
court, no courts, not just nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's weird too because if you hear people that's near the stage with their everybody's a camera person now with their cell phone and it's like wow you hear it and it's like wow that sounds bad because you're in front of this you're behind the speakers you're not hearing the mix
There you
all
go.
you're hearing at that point is a drummer playing too loud. So
Uh oh. You know what this means.
uh-oh.
This is from Jennifer Bryson
Hey
Colbert.
girl.
She says every boy band needs a blonde hottie.
That's right, yeah, we call him the blonde bombshell.
Billy the Blonde, miss you all.
That's right.
And we have another comment here from Stacy Sally Wagner.
Hey, that's some Augusta friends right there.
Hey,
Old
Tommy
school.
Styles, yeah, you've just got a huge fan base today. Hey, Tommy Styles.
Well, don't we love the internet? How it keeps us all connected.
It definitely does. So I asked this question to Clay the other day about stage presence and stage appearance. How you look on stage, you play the part. Because I know you look great. I mean, you got the gun, the guns going on. I'm like,
That's
look
all
at you.
Photoshop. It's all good lighting in Photoshop. Mhm.
And the clothing, and you really look the part.
Well, thank you.
So for those who are up and coming, what is your advice to them as far as stage presence and dressing the part?
Well, I would, and I don't. A lot of times I'm hidden behind the drums. A lot of times I'll simply wear a pair of shorts and a tank top because I'm back there burning 3,000 calories. You know,
Right.
uh, so or I'll put on a vest or whatever. I'll kind of go along with what Clay was saying. Don't show up looking like you came from the auto shop. With your baseball cap on and put forth some effort. People are there to see something, then give them something a little different. How about when they look at you, they're gonna say, "Oh, you must be in the band." Not like, "Oh man, I thought you was the guy out there fixing the cars." So, but yeah, I mean, I agree with what he says. Now, I don't follow that myself all the time, depending on what the gig is,
Right.
and if it's too hot or whatever, but because I'm back there, fat boy gonna sweat, so I'm back there getting my sweat on,
Oh gosh.
so it's all good.
So tell me, we're going back to your drum kits. How
Sure.
many? How many do you own?
Um,
Oh.
I have an electronic kit. I've got a
Okay.
Mapex kit. I've got two Tama Star Classic kits. One of those was purchased for the when we did the Kiss tribute, so it's kind of a silver sparkly to kind of pay homage to Peter Chris. And then I've got two Drum Workshop kits. So those are my money kits right now. So
Wow. God of
yeah,
Thunder.
yeah.
You forgot to talk about God of Thunder.
Well, but God of Thunder was a spin off of Pit Boss. So, but yeah, you're right. Yeah, the God of Thunder was that was the Pit Boss boys dressed in drag, singing some Kiss. Yeah, we had some fun with that, but man, now it seems the day and age when tribute bands is the flavor of the week. It
It is.
seems we picked about the hardest tribute band you could be a part of because Kiss. Not only are they all their hits, but
Right.
Kiss is basically four cartoon characters on stage. I mean, they are all so individual, and that's not even the makeup and the outfits. You know, it's like if you watch Gene Simmons, yeah, he's going to spit blood and he's going to say, "Oh yeah," but if you watch him, he never stands still. He's moving all the time.
In those really, really high.
Oh, absolutely. And
Oh,
I tell you what, I joke about it, and I'm amazed that not one of us rolled an ankle wearing those goofy boots. So, Jeff and Clint and Clay, they had the get up. I had the easy one, with my outfit, but yeah, it took us probably 2 hours to get in full makeup, and that's after going and setting up a full production and the curtains and
right.
But I remember shows where because we would sneak on stage, we'd sometimes come through the back door, get on stage. We don't know who's out front. You drop that curtain and there'd be 250 people there, screaming for you. So it was fun. I mean, I don't wish that on anyone as far as wearing all that makeup, but we had good times. We
So
talk
do,
about what not to do in the future. So
so do you see a reunion?
of God of Thunder, absolutely not.
So that was it.
No, I mean we can all four get up and play some Kiss songs, but I guarantee none of us want to put on those wigs or definitely that makeup. I mean, because come on, it gives you a whole new respect to the ladies out there who wear the makeup. When how do you scratch your face? And all
Well,
the
that's true.
and the makeup that we wore, you don't buy down at Ulta. That was stuff that came in from the theater companies. It was heavy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It was heavy stuff. So, so but yeah, Jeff was the artist of the bunch. He would come in and draw the graphics on our face, and then we would all sit there in front of our mirror, inexperienced makeup artists doing our makeup on our face, and it was just it was such a pain in the ass. But, oh well, we had fun. I mean, there's some good times and some good stories, but to do it all over, not a chance. Yeah, that chick would have to be rather large to pull all that craziness out again.
Uh-oh. Sabra?
Yeah, what's up, girl?
Hey, Tommy.
Some more Augusta friends.
Oh, yeah. William South.
Oh, that would be the little brother.
I can't believe I missed you in drag.
Oh, I'll send you a picture. There's plenty on my Facebook. Just dig in deep enough, you'll find it. Or you can go to, hey, I believe there's still a God of Thunder Facebook page out there. I believe it still is because I get notifications
Oh, okay.
occasionally that people still chime into it for some reason.
Wow.
So, but I'm sure of all the Kiss tributes in the land, we're probably not the only God of Thunder. So we're probably being mistaken for another band. What's up, Vicky?
Y'all did awesome, says Vicky. And she also says, oh, come on, Tommy.
Mm. I'll tell you what, at this point, it would be going to the Halloween shop and just getting a Peter Criss mask to put on, and then I would do that. That would be fun.
And from Amy Smith McCulloch, my favorite drummer. Oh, gotta go back. There she is. My
Hey,
favorite
what's up,
drummer.
girl? So kind she is.
And from Allison Mundy Burns Parham.
Hey, from South Kakalaki.
Hey, Tommy.
Yeah, she's trying to get us back into Greenwood now that they've re-energized the dock up there. So
Oh,
we're just
good.
waiting for a phone call. Just saying, just need a phone call. Tell Eddie hello, Allison.
So tell me about, once again, there are people who are up and coming musicians who are learning. And one of the things they have to deal with is performance anxiety. Now, I'll tell you before you answer, when I was first starting out, myself personally, being a singer, I had to take a, good couple of shots, hard shots to get that liquid courage going back in the day. So, what is your advice as a drummer or as a performer?
I would say just first off, be prepared. I mean, like I said early in the talk here about be prepared for any situation. It's kind of like me showing up to the gig with one pair of drumsticks. That's not very prepared. But I was young and didn't know any better.
Right.
So take every experience as a learning experience, even if it's bad. We learn from that and don't repeat. Um, and polish the skills any way we can.
It's very good advice. So, when you're drumming on stage, what is running through your mind other than 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 on the one or what have you? What is
Well,
your,
yeah, I don't even think of the counting anymore. I've been doing it for so many moons now.
right?
On our stage, it's because for one, like I said earlier, we don't have a set list up there. So, we're always thinking of, okay, where is the party at this moment, and where do we go next? A lot of times, there's several songs that I start on drums. So
Right.
we'll end the song, and my next beat is the beginning of the next song, and then the band just follows in. Or if it's something that requires, us to be all in unison with one another, we actually, on our stage, we have sign language, that we come up with on our own because we can't hear each other. So Clint and I like to figure out what songs we think will happen next. Also, if there's a tuning, if some songs are in a different tuning, then we kind of have to give Billy a chance to switch guitars. So there's a little pause that has to happen there. That'll be either a song that I'll start out and kind of ride the intro out on drums while Billy switches up guitars. So he's not forced or rushed to catch up. And then we kind of link those songs together so it's less work for them. Clint can just change tunings on his bass normally. But it's a lot of the times it's just how do we keep what's happening in front of us going? How do we orchestrate the party? Because we're trying to make the night memorable for everybody. And
Right.
some nights, it's just like, wow, it doesn't matter what we play. It's just people just chilling tonight. They're not really, and then some nights, the moment you get on stage, the place is packed and it's, one of those nights for the record book. So, that's what we go for. We strive for that moment of grace on stage where everything is going well. And we just kind of look at each other and give ourselves that little grin, like, "Oh yeah, we got this." So, and then those are the nights, man, y'all are great, y'all are great. We're glad you appreciate it.
Wow. Sounds
So,
like you learned from the James Brown School of Music because he never. I know for a fact with his band, there was never a set list ever.
ah,
Yeah,
I
never
did
a
not
set
know
list.
that. Well, even if there was, James would throw a wrench in that works anytime. So,
Oh yeah,
yeah.
yeah. It was
Oh
all
yeah, I mean that's
yeah.
yeah, it's and the thing about it is the reason for us not or my interpretation of why we don't have a set list because you never know how the party's going to go. If you have a big thing happening and your next song is a ballad, you just suck the life out of this whole thing. So don't follow what's on paper. Follow what's going on in front of your face.
That's right.
Have live the moment. I always equate Pit Boss to a 4-piece DJ.
Okay.
We keep it going.
There you go.
So and some people are like, man, you got to come see this band. They don't ever even stop between songs. Well, it's not that we don't stop. It's just that we just like to keep the momentum happening. Which equals not stopping.
That's true. You know what?
If you give people a chance to walk
Right.
away, they will.
Oh, there they will.
So,
That leads into another very important part of being in a band, and again, this is for up and comers. Dead air is a no.
Yes, absolutely.
It is a
And that's
no.
where, I'm blessed to be on a stage with four individuals who are not scared to talk on a mic.
Right.
So we can get up there and just get some banter going, and before you know it, hey, we need to be playing some music. Everybody's done. The laughing has subsided. So, but it's just there's more to it than tipsy bartenders and waitresses. I mean, that's a very important part of it, but we want to talk to folks and say happy birthday or invite folks on stage and make it a night. Make it, give them some good bribery material on their phones. You remember getting on stage with that band last night? So
So do you have any advice on how to eliminate the dead air other than talking? Like, say, for instance, changing guitars, or there's a technical issue.
Well, I mean, you're in a live situation. Things are going to break. Things are going to happen. You have to be prepared for it. That goes along with, learning from experience. On our stage, there's always a backup for the backup type thing. If a wireless guitar piece goes out, there's always a cord handy that you can just plug into. I'm within arm's reach of 20 sticks at a time. All of that. I have a spare snare drum within arm's reach of me.
Okay.
So, the main thing is just being prepared. If some guy needs to bow out for a moment,
Right.
then take up the slack. Hey, I need to fix something. Sean, talk to the crowd for a minute, or you and Billy play something acoustic. Y'all do something. Because things happen. I mean, I'm up there hitting stuff. Things break.
They do.
So, you just got to be prepared for it. And if it gets worst case scenario, you take an early break and you fix the problem and you come back and you try to pick up where you left off. But that's the beauty of live music is you never know what you're going to get.
Oh, very true. Very true. If you could open up for any live band that of your choosing, who would it be?
Oh, wow. Dee, I don't really have an answer for that. I mean, not with one band, because I mean, I would think of any one of the hundreds of bands that I follow that that I would say, all right, let's get off stage so I can watch them, learn from the masters. But I mean, there's so many great bands out there. It's crazy, and like I mentioned earlier, with the internet today and the Instagram and the YouTube, and there's so many 10-year-old drummers out there giving lessons. I mean, it's ridiculous, all the talent that we have access to nowadays. So
Definitely. Uh-oh.
Ding! This just in.
Allison says lake party.
Oh. Well, girl, you know my digits. You just let us know when and where, and we're always ready for a lake party.
Stacy says hi. and there's a part 2, and that was my 11-year-old.
Oh, okay.
And Amy says always a great time with Pit Boss. Great music and amazing musicians that keeps the party going.
She's so kind. Yeah, Miss Amy recently started following Pit Boss, so it's always good to have her out. She always gives us that head swell a little bit.
Oh,
she enjoys it, so it's all good.
What is the best advice as a musician that you've been given?
Oh. Well, I mean, that for one, that goes back to what I said about being prepared. That's one of the reasons we travel on a big truck. Because we always have a spare. Being prepared. It's when you're new at just like with any profession, you're gonna have a learning curve, and unfortunately, or I should say, fortunately for live musicians, you're in front of a crowd messing up. So you just got to be prepared to roll with it, and don't sweat the small things, and hope for the best, and go out with the best of intentions, and let people know you appreciate them being there, because that's the reason we do it. I mean, we could play in our garage all day long, but that's not as fun as playing in front of a packed house.
Very true. So, how do you feel about the internet as the current situation as we're in right now, and how has it impacted Pit Boss?
Well, the internet for Pit Boss. I mean, we're in a great day and age with the not really as of the moments of the, say, the last month and a half of all this
Right.
craziness we're going through.
Right.
But if it weren't for the internet, it would be hard for us to play in some of these places where people have never heard of us before. So because of the internet, we have Facebook, and then the website and word of mouth, and then you have the clubs promoting, and it's back in the day it was all about a packed bunch of regulars that like to go to their same music venue, and hopefully that band's good, or I saw them a month or two ago, they were great, let's go see them again. But you have that now, but then you also have the internet where follow your favorite bands on Facebook. Hey, they're going to be close to my area, blah, blah, blah. All of that good stuff. Or the bad part about that is, like I said earlier, now everybody is Steven Spielberg with their phones, and you go have some bad moment on stage and half the country's seen it. It's like, oh, what not to do? But it's all good. We just laugh about it and keep going.
Well, one good thing about the internet and technology in particular is the platform that we're using right now. You're in Atlanta, pretty
Yep.
much.
Yep.
And I'm out here in Sacramento.
Absolutely.
And, to be able to do an
Wow.
interview. Yeah.
A lot of satellites connecting.
Awful lot of satellites connecting. One of the great things about the internet, another thing for me is, you can use, again, social media, Facebook, Instagram. Some people still use MySpace. Still. Some
I
people
haven't
still
tried to
do.
log onto our MySpace page in years. I probably wouldn't even let me in. I probably don't remember the password.
So, there's always, different ways to get your music out. You
Yes.
just have to
Yeah.
gotta
Well,
hustle.
let me think about it like this. Wasn't who was the young girl who just won the Grammy and she recorded
That's
down
right.
of her basement?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, come on now, that's strong.
It's very strong. Uh-oh.
So
Let's see what we got here. Amy says she loves you.
oh,
And we have a new Heather. Pit
well, what's
Boss
up, Heather?
Pit Boss group is since 2007. Great group of guys. She's been a
Yeah.
long time fan.
Absolutely.
So do you have any other words, any shout outs, anything you want to say, anything you want to say at this point?
Well, shout outs to all of our friends and family, watching, and we hope to get over this craziness soon and be back out there, spreading the music joy.
Definitely.
So, yeah, we got to get over this soon because it's driving a lot of us crazy.
Oh, you
Yeah.
know it
We
is.
haven't had that outlet. I don't need another hobby. So,
More comments. This is from Lynn. Pit Boss has brought primo entertainment for the sweet little town of Covington through their venue, 5 o'clock. Tell me about 5 o'clock.
yeah, 5 o'clock is our local big stage, a 5 o'clock sports bar and grill here in Covington. That's where Pit Boss started there in the Atlanta area some 10 plus years ago. So,
Wow.
yeah.
I've seen the food that has been posted online.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like,
Yeah,
You
it's the best.
you're gonna have to mail me a plate out here. That's what you're gonna have to do.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Or
buddy.
just let me know next time you're nearby. You're more than welcome to stop in.
Well, thank you. And from Marcy, she says, "Love my Pit Boss boys."
So kind she is.
Oh. Anything else you want to add before we go?
No, I've enjoyed it. I don't know how well I answered your questions, but thank you for having me on.
Oh,
It's been
absolutely.
fun.
You did great. I mean, largest fan base I've seen yet.
Oh my.
Yeah, I know,
Oh,
right?
the stress.
Will you come back for a future episode?
Absolutely.
I appreciate your time, Tommy. Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Tommy Topper South from Pit Boss. Make sure. Oh, I gotta hold up. I gotta put the glasses on again. I should leave them on, but it's a vanity thing. I'm not gonna do that.
I'll put mine on if you want to. You want to feel like twinsies.
Make sure you go to pitbossrocks.com.
Yeah.
You
And
see
also
the-
on Facebook.
and on Facebook as well. This is the Radio Takeover with D Rivers Live. Thank you so much, Tommy, for joining us. We'll see you all next time. Thank you, audience, for tuning in. Thank you for all the great comments. Tommy and I appreciate it very much. Tommy, you will receive a personal copy of this interview, audio and video.
Proof.
Proof! It's all proof. You can't escape
That's right.
it now.
It's in the record books.
It's in the record books.
Have a good
So,
day.
there's one other thing I forgot to mention. Tomorrow I get the day off. I've been interviewing every day this week.
About time.
Yeah, I get the day off. And on Friday, Black Market 3, who is from SoCal, some good friends of mine, they're going to be on. And on Sunday, Jimmy Jeff, also known as Jeffrey Robinson, is going to sit in with us and we'll have an interview. And on Monday, we're going to have the fabulous Michael Batamy. You remember Michael?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, that's going to be
Augusta
a good
legend.
one. Augusta legend, yes he is. So he'll be on and we'll have a lot of stories to talk about as well.
Look forward to all those.
Absolutely. You take care. And this is the Radio Takeover with D Rivers Live. Take
Good night,
care,
everybody.
everyone. Bye. Woohoo.